What's up everyone, it's Adam from Life of Adam. Today I'm back with a brand new lifeguarding video. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about how to survive your first ever rescue as a lifeguard. Now everyone remembers their first ever rescue. A lot of us are probably really nervous because it actually involved us having to jump in and save someone. So it's a high stakes situation. But in this video, I'm gonna give you guys some tips on how to make sure it goes really well so that you can keep lifeguarding and you can kind of look forward to making more saves because it feels really good and it's very rewarding. So let's dive right into it. Now, if you're new to the channel, I'll make a bunch of content about passing the course, the swim test, the final exam, basically everything you need to know. So definitely consider subscribing and liking the video to show your support to the channel and also help more people become lifeguards and enjoy the summer. Now, tip number one, when it comes to surviving your first ever rescue, it is handling nerves. That's like number one. You're gonna see someone that needs your help. You're gonna have that feeling in your stomach like, oh crap, this is actually happening. That's expected. You just gotta stay level-headed, stay sharp, and just kind of stay focused on what you need to do. So you'll have that initial feeling and then you'll kind of be in the zone once you start acting on it and moving and approaching the victim. But just know that nerves will happen. Don't freak out, just stay calm and kind of trust your instincts. Number two is early recognition. The sooner you recognize that someone needs your help, the better, because that buys you more time, which means that the margin of error isn't as slim. So now if you recognize the victim right away, that's great, but usually it's around like 30 seconds for recognition. That's like the window. If your victim is submerged, that's a very valuable window. So if anything more than 30 seconds and there's a victim who's like underwater and not breathing, that's not good. But just know you want to recognize them early so it has plenty of time for you, less margin of error. You also want to look at the situation and identify what kind of victim is this? Is this an active victim? Is this a passive victim? Is this a distressed swimmer? Is this kind of like a simple assist? Or is this something where I need to initiate and activate an emergency action plan for? So those are kind of like the three types of swimmers, and just stay relaxed. The more you do this, the more comfortable you'll be. But for the first time, just understand it's gonna be a little nerve-wracking, but you'll be okay. Now, number two is activate a response and go. The and go part is really important. It doesn't mean like drop whatever you're doing and sprint over and throw yourself in the water and try to make the save. You don't want to have way too much urgency to the point where like you're not controlling your movements and you're tripping over people, you're running into someone. Like you want to make sure that yes, you go and you get from point A to point B efficiently, but you don't want to be clumsy and frantic. You want to be controlled and calm, but still have some urgency. So just understand that you want to activate a response. So if an EAP is needed, the emergency action plan, blow the whistle, communicate with other lifeguards and basically tell them like, hey, you need to watch my zone because there's someone at the bottom of the pool. This is a serious emergency. We may need to clear the pool, call 911, do the whole procedure. So just read it. If it's something serious, you want to activate the emergency action plan. If it's a kid who just got tired and is flapping his arms, you don't need to activate the emergency action plan. You blow the whistle, you get other lifeguards kind of in tune with, okay, I need to watch that area. You go in, you make the save, you bring them to safety, and then you go back to working after you document it and do the steps. And also trust your gut. If you're kind of unsure if the victim needs your help or not, like there's a swimmer that is just really bad and you don't know if they're tired or if their form is just that bad, trust your gut. It's better to go when you don't need to than not to go and let that whole situation escalate and have the victim submerge, and then you really need to, provide care and go under the water and rescue them, because that just takes a situation that didn't need to escalate and you allowed it to escalate by being unsure. So it's better to just trust your read and go than it is to sit back and wait for it to get worse. And then, like I said earlier, controlled movement's very important. You don't want to look like you're moving too quickly or moving out of order. You want to stay calm and composed because other people read you. When you're lifeguarding, people kind of look at you like, hey, is everything okay? You want to be kind of that like responsible, higher up figure and control your space. So it comes with being controlled when you go and make saves. Now, tip number three is you want to have a safe entry and approach. Make sure that when you're getting up, that your rescue tube isn't tangled around your feet, around the lifeguard stand. Make sure that you have everything that you need. Granted, this isn't like you taking your time, making sure you have a sip of water, going in when you feel like it. This is quickly like, okay, am I tangled? No. Do I have everything I need? Yes, then go, right? So make sure that everything is in order. No one's beneath you, so if you try to jump in, you're gonna land on someone. Make sure that everyone's clear, you do the right approach. Given how deep the water is, if it's very shallow water, you can do a slide-in approach. If you're high up on a lifeguard tower, you can do a compact jump, or you can do a stride jump. If you're in the deep end and you're kind of already standing on the pool deck, you can do a stride jump. You always wanna have your eyes on the victim at all times. You never wanna have your face in water and just start doing front crawl with rotary breathing. You need to be locked onto the victim at all times. So that's why in the course, they teach you like how to swim with your head above water and looking at a target. Also, you want to pick the best route. So you want to go from point A to point B the most efficient way possible. So if this is a pool, and you're guarding right here and the victim's, you know, over here, you wanna go like this. You don't wanna like go over here and then jump in and then swim across. And maybe this is faster, you go around and you jump in, but you just wanna go from point A to point B. You don't wanna overthink it. You wanna take the smart, best route to get you there the fastest. And also you wanna keep the rescue tube between you and the victim. You never wanna be in a situation where the victim's like grabbing onto you, and let's say they're panicking, they'll pull you beneath the water, and then you're gonna have to kind of like lose them for a second, free yourself, and then turn them around and rescue them. So it adds an extra complication to things. So just make sure the rescue tube is between you and the victim so that you don't have to worry about being grabbed onto and brought beneath the surface. Now, tip number 4, the last one for this video, is to always keep communicating. When you're with the victim, you want to reassure them like, hey, are you okay? Tell them like, listen, we're gonna bring you over here, we're gonna relax, you're gonna be all right. If you're telling people what to do, let's say it's an emergency, tell someone, hey, call 911, or hey, I'm gonna be over here, bring the backboard. You have to be speaking downhill and telling people, this is what you need, this is what you're doing, especially if you're the primary rescuer. And then lastly, it's like the position, right? You bring a victim to safety, this is the pool, you save someone in the middle, you bring them to the wall, you bring them out. You wanna bring them to a safe place where you can reassure them, talk to them, document what happened, comfort them for a little bit, and make sure that you're not like keeping them in the same place where they got injured or where the accident happened. So those are 4 tips to help you survive your first lifeguard rescue. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Comment down below if you have any questions, and I'll see you all in the next upload. Thank you so much. Peace out.